Most people are familiar with regular volcanoes. They erupt with lava, ash, and smoke, and although they can be destructive, they are usually limited in how far they reach. But a supervolcano is something entirely different. A supervolcano is not just a bigger version of a volcano. It is a rare kind of volcano capable of causing global disaster. What makes it super is the sheer volume of material it can erupt. While a typical volcano might release a few cubic kilometers of ash, a supervolcano can eject over 1,000 cubic kilometers or more in a single event. That's enough to bury entire regions in ash and cause long-term changes to the planet's climate. To understand just how powerful these eruptions are, scientists use something called the Volcanic Explosivity Index, or VEI. The VEI measures the size and impact of a volcanic eruption, using a scale from 0 to 8. Most volcanoes we hear about, like Mount St. Helens in Washington or Mount Etna in Italy, score around a VEI 5. A supervolcano, however, is classified at VEI 8, the highest possible rating. That means a supervolcano eruption is at least 1,000 times more powerful than an eruption like Mount St. Helens. The scale of destruction is almost hard to imagine. Some supervolcanoes are so large, their craters, called calderas, stretch for tens of kilometers. These calderas form when the land collapses after an eruption empties a massive underground magma chamber. Instead of seeing a tall mountain peak like a normal volcano, many supervolcanoes appear as sunken basins or flat regions, making them hard to spot unless you know where to look. Today there are only a few known supervolcanoes on Earth. These include Yellowstone in the United States, Toba in Indonesia, and Taupo in New Zealand. Each of them has had at least one eruption in the past that qualifies as VEI 8. These eruptions were so large that they affected not just the areas nearby, but the entire planet's atmosphere and climate. Understanding what a supervolcano is and how powerful it can be is the first step in grasping why scientists take these sleeping giants so seriously. In the next part, we'll explore the history of past supervolcano eruptions and how they change the course of life on Earth. Now that we know what supervolcanoes are and just how powerful they can be, it's important to look at how they've shaped Earth's history. These rare eruptions don't just affect one area, they can change the planet's climate, ecosystems, and even the course of human evolution. One of the most well-known examples of this is the Toba supervolcano in present-day Indonesia. And roughly 74,000 years ago, the Toba eruption became one of the largest volcanic events on Earth in the last 2 million years. It released such an enormous amount of volcanic ash and gases into the atmosphere that it likely caused a dramatic drop in global temperatures. This event is known as a volcanic winter, a period when the sun's light is blocked by ash in the atmosphere, lowering temperatures around the world for several years. Crops would have failed, ecosystems would have collapsed, and many species, including humans, were pushed to the edge of extinction. Some scientists believe that this eruption may have caused a genetic bottleneck in the human population, meaning the number of humans alive at that time dropped to only a few thousand individuals. This theory suggests the Toba eruption could have directly influenced how modern humans evolved. Another major supervolcano lies beneath Yellowstone National Park in the United States. This one has erupted multiple times over the last 2 million years. Its last major eruption happened around 640,000 years ago. It formed a massive caldera, now hidden under forests, lakes, and hot springs. The eruptions spread ash over much of North America, and while we can't know the exact effects, scientists believe it caused widespread changes to the continent's environment. In New Zealand, the Taupo supervolcano erupted around 26,000 years ago, with another major eruption around 1,800 years ago. Though smaller than the earlier blast, the more recent eruption was still one of the most violent eruptions in human history, sending ash across the Pacific and darkening skies as far away as China. What connects all of these eruptions is their ability to impact the planet on a global scale. They don't just affect the local area. They cool the planet, disrupt rainfall, destroy food chains, and can create famine and mass extinction events. These past eruptions give scientists important clues about what to expect if another one were to happen in our lifetime. In the next part, we'll look at how likely a supervolcano eruption is today and what kind of threat it poses to modern life. Understanding the history of supervolcanoes helps us realize just how powerful and dangerous they can be. But what about today? Could one erupt during our lifetime? This is a question that scientists continue to study closely, and the answer is complicated. Supervolcano eruptions are extremely rare, with tens or even hundreds of thousands of years between each event. That's one reason they're so difficult to predict. Unlike typical volcanoes that erupt frequently and give off clear warning signs, supervolcanoes spend most of their time completely quiet. Because of that, researchers rely on detailed geological studies and advanced monitoring systems to detect any possible changes beneath the Earth's surface. The Yellowstone supervolcano, for example, is one of the most closely watched geological sites in the world. Scientists use GPS, ground sensors, and satellite imaging to monitor any shifts in the ground, changes in gas emissions, or rising temperatures that might suggest magma is moving beneath the surface. So far, while Yellowstone shows signs of geothermal activity, like geysers and hot springs, there is no evidence that an eruption is imminent. In fact, most scientists agree that there's no reason to expect one anytime soon. However, the risk is not zero. Supervolcanoes exist in several parts of the world, including Italy's Campi Flegrei, which has shown signs of unrest in recent years. In places like this, researchers are carefully watching for signs of pressure building underground. But even if conditions were changing, predicting the exact timing of a supervolcanic eruption remains one of the biggest challenges in science. If a supervolcano were to erupt today, the consequences would be severe. The ash alone could shut down air travel across entire continents. Entire cities might be buried. Global temperatures could drop for years, affecting agriculture, transportation, and energy production. Countries that depend heavily on food imports or industrial systems would be especially vulnerable. The economic impact could be in the trillions, and the human cost could be devastating, especially in densely populated areas. That's why ongoing scientific research is so important. By studying past eruptions, analyzing fault lines, and improving global monitoring networks, scientists are working to better understand what might cause a supervolcano to erupt and how early we might detect it. In the final part, we'll explore what humanity can actually do to prepare for this kind of rare but catastrophic event. If a supervolcano ever erupted, the effects could reach every corner of the world. That's why the focus now turns to preparation. What can we actually do to protect ourselves before disaster strikes? One of the most important steps is building strong global monitoring systems. Scientists around the world are already sharing data through international networks using satellite imagery, seismic detectors, and gas sensors to track the tiniest changes in volcanic systems. These tools can help detect early warning signs such as small earthquakes or ground swelling. But to be truly effective, these systems need long-term support, funding, and cooperation between nations. Another critical part of preparation is education. People need to know what a supervolcano is, what the warning signs are, and what to do if an alert is ever issued. Emergency plans that work for regular natural disasters, like hurricanes or earthquakes, might not be enough. A supervolcano eruption could affect food supply chains, power grids, and water sources on a global level. That's why schools, governments, and international agencies need to raise awareness and help the public understand the scale of the risk without causing panic. Food security would be one of the biggest concerns. A supervolcano eruption could darken the skies for months or even years, leading to shorter growing seasons and failed crops. Countries would need to prepare by stockpiling essential supplies, developing indoor farming techniques, and having trade systems in place that can adapt quickly if global shipping and agriculture are disrupted. Technology will also play a key role. In the future, artificial intelligence may help scientists spot eruption signs earlier by analyzing huge amounts of data faster than ever before. New breakthroughs in climate science might help us better understand how to handle the changes in temperature and rainfall that would follow an eruption. Researchers are even exploring the idea of creating materials or systems that could capture ash or reflect sunlight to lessen the cooling effects. Most importantly, international cooperation will be the foundation of any successful response. A supervolcano eruption would not be a local event. It would affect nations across the globe. That means planning cannot stop at borders. Global organizations like the United Nations and the World Health Organization may need to lead emergency planning efforts, coordinating aid, managing supplies, and sharing vital information quickly. In the end, supervolcanoes remind us how fragile life on Earth can be, but they also remind us of how far we've come. We now have the tools to monitor the planet in real time, communicate across borders instantly, and learn from the past to prepare for the future. While we may not know exactly when the next supervolcano will erupt, we do know that by staying informed, supporting science, and working together, we can be ready for whatever comes.